Hello. Today we'll be exploring my Minecraft Bedrock world. It's a survival world. It's never been put on creative. You can still earn achievements. It's pretty cool. It's about 3 years old. Just over 3 years old. Started it in April 2020. Um, it's a collaboration with a cousin of mine, my wife, um, a couple of friends. We built some stuff. We did some things. The world is still far from fully explored, and all the new stuff that's come out since I want to say Caves and Cliffs hasn't been fully explored yet. I primarily play this world over any other world, and recently my nephew and consequently my sister got into Minecraft. So they asked me if I could show them the ropes a bit, and I figured what better way to start than with a world tour. And it's always common to start your Let's Play series is with a world tour. So here we go. This is Spawn. It's mostly complete. We've um, we've gone through and made it a little bit more accessible for new people who join our server. It's a private server though; you can't really join it. But when you do first join, we have some gear that we share. You need some beds to click. There's nothing really around spawn. When I started the world, I wasn't terribly impressed with the surroundings. I know there's a village over there. It's been fully looted and explored, and most of the beds have been removed from the early days of not surviving very well. Yeah. So our main base is about 3,000 blocks in that direction, and today we use another tunnel to get there, which makes things very easy. So here we go. Now, the thing about the nether, for those of you who don't know, 1 block distance, so from here to here in the nether, that counts as 8 blocks in the overworld. It's a big, big distance. Um, this path here we're setting up for an ice boat road. One of these days we'll put it in. There is other, there are other roads here. I'm just gonna fly if I can. Make it go faster. As you can see, this is not spawn proof, but we don't mind those zombie pigmen. They're pretty cool. Don't bother anybody. This is Luigi. He's our doorman. Once upon a time, my nether portals all face the correct direction. You'd walk in and be able to walk straight out. But one day they did an update and it kind of messed it all up. So here we are in town. This is where I live, where we all live. Um, might be easier to get an aerial perspective. Fly up here. Um, and then fall back down because we're professionals. That's how we do. You know what? That tree's even taller. All right, good enough. Nope, nope. Okay, still failing hard. Great, good stuff. All right, so down there, that humble little house, that's mine. This is a windmill. It also serves as a safe place for villagers to hang out. So we can, if ever the unthinkable happens and all our villagers get wiped out, the dudes in there will make some more. And it's happened several times. Not sure how. Probably drowned coming out of the water. So yeah, the idea here was there's a little lore. This was an old fishing village with some fortified buildings for whatever reason. Um, yeah, and we moved in here. There was no village here to begin with, as you can imagine. These are all custom buildings. And then later on, we added some more modern structures here. So we have a couple of like, I guess you call them beach houses. This gentleman here is known as Haunted Harold. He's haunted. Oh, buddy, you're not looking so good. You're not looking so good. All right, so first pro tip, if you have golems protecting your villagers and you see them looking a little haggard like that gentleman over there, you're going to want to get yourself an iron ingot. Take 2 just in case. This is our warehouse, our main warehouse. It stores smaller quantities of stuff. The bulk storage is next door in that keep over there, and then there's some even more bulk storage elsewhere. Yeah, let's go see if we can fix this guy before he gets himself killed in that berry bush. As you can see, he's repaired now. Try to. He does not want to push out of there. Okay. All right, you're gonna be difficult. Get out. Get out. Go. 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 Patrol. Do your job. Do your job. Protect the villagers. Don't get stuck in the bushes. All right, so this beach house, it's got a bar. It's got a couple of bartenders who are stuck in here. Not sure how many there are or why, and a frog. And yeah, good stuff, villagers. Good stuff. Getting yourself stuck. You go out on the deck here. We have a pirate ship. Um, we'll call it a historical monument. Um, that's a yacht. These were both built by Mrs. Cubes, my wife. She's pretty good at building boats, I would say. Um, and if we just scoot over here, my original base, which was intended to be a laboratory of mad science, is here underwater in this ocean monument that I cleared out. Most of the machinery, this place was all once full of machinery. Most of the machinery is no longer valid. It's more of a historical record of what used to be known as zero tick farms. It would produce tons and tons of a single item really quickly. This one still works. It's a flower farm. It's not a zero tick farm per se. You basically pop a flower down there, and you hit the button, and it just makes more flowers. Obviously, it needs bone meal to work, whereas zero tick farms needed nothing to work. It was just gaming the mechanics of the game to make things happen that weren't supposed to. This used to be an apiary. That's where the bees live, but I've moved them somewhere else. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. This crazy monstrosity was a super smelter. It was powered by or fueled by a zero tick farm as well, which obviously no longer functions. So yeah, that's a thing that doesn't work anymore. I think this one here, we could still turn it on. And I don't think it works, but I think if we turn it on, you can get the idea of what a zero tick farm does. Basically, the pistons hammer out really fast, and it should, in theory, glitch the game into spawning another growth of sugarcane, which it no longer does because they took that out, which is fine. That's totally fine. Not a big deal. There are other farms that do just as good. And while the golden era lasted, we managed to acquire a not insignificant amount of zero ticked items. We got sugar cane, lots of sugar cane. You might ask, why do you need so much sugar cane for? The answer is to get rich. We trade sugar cane for emeralds, or paper rather, which is made from sugar cane. Got some inventory in here too. Cool. Yeah, we trade sugar cane as paper for emeralds. We make books out of it to get enchanting, and yeah. So basically, if you make your villagers get their highest discount possible, they will effectively trade 1 sugar cane per emerald. So each double chest you see there is a double chest full of emeralds, basically. We got some camels, some new additions, and we've got some nighttime that we should probably sleep through. So let's take a quick nap, and we'll come back in the morning to resume our tour. All right. So none of the other buildings in this particular part of town have function. This is a bit of a mass storage area. Um, if you go inside, you go upstairs, you'll find a warehouse of deep slate, some copper, a missing wall, amethyst. What do we got in here? Stone, all kinds of stone. We got so much stone. Stone, stone, stone. Nothing but stone. Everywhere. Stones everywhere. Uh, Boxes upon boxes of stones. It also serves as a house for some of our villagers. Maximize the number of villagers come in the world. These are my LA friends. They harvest carrots for me. This is a relatively new system I put in. I might improve it by hiding the components a little better. But basically, every few seconds it makes a ding and they throw the carrots in, and then the carrots get sucked into the hopper. And yeah, as you can see, it's working so good that this guy keeps picking them up and throwing them back. Wonder why. Certainly keeping them from despawning. That side works. You know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not here to fix problems today. In here, we have the armory. It's basically, well, these days it's a bit depleted. Most of this was acquired through raiding the end and busting, as it were. Um, yeah, so that's that. If we walk over this way, we got a couple custom trees again. Mrs. Cubes showing her art skills. We got a bridge that takes us over to the newer part of town. So here we have like a bit of a I don't know, a medieval looking town, like a really, you know, not fancy. And then I kind of wanted to bring us into the, I guess, early 20th century. So we have some buildings here. Uh, each building here does have a purpose. So there's where we do our potion brewing. Underneath the potion brewer, we have a bit of a another wart farm. Nothing elaborate, but again, we're like two people that play most of the time. So massive mega super farms, not generally terribly worth the effort to build. Um, so we get a little bit of dripstone, and we got some nether wart here to do our potions, which is cool. Conveniently located. And here was supposed to be a post office where you could drop off whatever you need to pass to someone else, but there is no one else, so we don't really use that. So I guess its purpose is kind of, you know, pointless. Um, this is where the bees ended up. Now, I remember I just finished saying that super mega super duper farms were kind of not great for building. Well, especially when you use minecarts like that. We use this place to collect honeycombs. Why are there no bees? It's a fine question. I'm a little concerned that my bees disappeared. That would be sad. It was a bit of an effort to get them in here. Yeah, basically this place automatically harvests honeycombs. Still got some shears. I'm a little concerned that my bees are not producing honey anymore. Huh. That's sad. I'll have to go repopulate that one of these days. Because it's super easy to manipulate bees around the world, right? Super easy. All right. Then we have here, we have the dump. We call it the dump. It's really poorly functional. I did not make this piece. Um, the idea here was that you bring all your junk and drop it off in here, and it gets destroyed. And we have a map of the whole area, which I think is pretty cool. Um, so we're here, right here. Um, this is the old part of town. This is the new part of town. You can tell because of the difference in the roads, right? As soon as you cross that bridge, everything is kind of paved, and on this side, it's all kind of dirt roads. Um, yeah, so it's a pretty sprawling area. That's my makeshift bamboo farm while I work on a proper bamboo farm. Why do you need a proper bamboo farm? To make bamboo blocks, which is a new kind of wood in this update of the game, the Tales and Trails update. So this is a cactus farm. Um, does its thing passively. We do nothing for it, and it just produces cactus for us, which is good for making green dye or for breeding camels. And then over here, we have everyone's favorite sheep farm. And the minecart has stopped moving, which is great. So basically, we have one of every color sheep in here, and that minecart collects the wool when it's sheared. The sheeps eat the grass. They grow their wool, and then it shears one after. Like as soon as they eat the grass, they grow their wool, and the observer will detect the grass getting eaten, and it'll trigger this dispenser to shear them. Very productive farm. It's so productive we actually just stopped putting shears in it because it's just more wool than you know what to do with. Um, I remember I said we trade for emeralds. This is the bank where we keep our emeralds. Um, that was a full shulker box of emerald blocks. So that's the currency that we decided to use in the game was emeralds, not diamonds, nothing else, and just emeralds. There we have a little park. Now, as much as mega farms are useless to me, I do enjoy building them sometimes. So what we have here is one half of a kelp farm. Um, Basically, the kelp grows too high, it triggers this observer, and it punches it out, and it makes a ton of kelp. A ton of kelp. Which we then use, comes down this way, pre-smelted, pre-cooked, if you will. It comes down this way, and yeah, we turn it into kelp blocks, and we have basically infinite fuel. It's definitely um, more. You get more than you put in. I cannot remember the word for that, but you get more than you put in. This is the one of the more recent additions. This is the Geological Society Museum, where we have a showcase of different minerals in the world. A little bit of everything here. If you ever wanted to know about your different minerals, you can come in here and take a peek. There's an upstairs, if I can get there. It's got more. A little amethyst geode building out of the corner. Some netherite in all its forms. Almost all its forms. There's no netherite block of netherite, whatever it's called. Yeah, some coal, some redstone, and the elevator down. Just like that. All right, so that was that. What else do we got here? A few of these buildings are incomplete, missing like roofs, walls, things like that. It's a lot of work to make such a big sprawling area. So, yeah. Now we're gonna go down the road. Here we have our mine. This is intended to become the the bulk storage for stone and andesite and things like that. Uh, Got a little truck here loading up, a forklift. Pretty cool. Gatehouse, make sure that the uh, authorized people are the only people that come in. Looks like it's going to be nighttime, so we're going to have to take a quick nap in our iron factory. This is the iron factory. Um, it's actually not just iron here. So it does produce iron. Huh. Let's try that again. You know what? It's working. I was just going up there to see if it's working. Basically, what we have here is two villages with a center point over here, and then the beds and the iron golems spawn, and then they fall in the hole, and they get turned into iron ingots. Sorry, buddy. You may call that inhumane. I call that a really great way to get iron. A really great way to get iron. This here is a gold farm. Using the Bedrock technique of trident killers. Very useful tools. It also, most of the time, functions correctly and sorts the output into its various types. And when there is swords, because the things that come out of here drop swords, they get burned up in here, which we fuel with our kelp from the kelp farm. All very environmentally friendly stuff. We look out for the environment here. All right. So this little patch here is going to be my proper bamboo farm. I was attempting to build a flying machine, but it is proving to be a little more obnoxious than I anticipated. So uh, I'm rethinking the design. I might go with a different style of farm. We'll see. Not sure yet. It's been a bit of a headache for me. So we go back across the bridge here. This is my skyscraper, my corporate headquarters, if you will. Right now, it serves very little purpose. It has a lobby that's kind of half broken, hasn't been completed, and its most important feature right now is an actual super smelter that works, not like the one in the underwater lab. This thing is powered by kelp blocks, so my kelp farm clearly produces um, enough kelp to make this work. It's pretty fast. It's not the fastest. It's not supposed to be the fastest. It's supposed to be good enough. We're not supposed to be getting kelp blocks into that chest. Means something's not working quite right, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So there's floors all the way up to the roof, and nothing majorly important in there. There's a bed up at top, like in the. The idea was that all the utilities would be lower down, and at the top we have our living area. If I could fly today, that would be fantastic. Yeah, so our living area is here. There's a bed down there. And due to the shape of the building, it kind of turned me off from making full use of it as a home. That is what it is. Over here, we have what is going to be. The idea here was that there's an old building that got reclaimed for, purposes, and it's our wheat farm. Why do you need wheat, you ask? Well, if you want to make, what is it, mud bricks of mud blocks, you need wheat. So, or something. I don't know. I remember needing a bunch of wheat for something. This is a under construction area. Mrs. Cubes again working on making some new buildings. The last piece over here in this major part of town is my spaceship. Why do you have a spaceship, you ask? Because why wouldn't you have a spaceship? That's why. The interior is not completely decorated. There's no cockpit. It's still under construction. We had a creeper explosion in here. Kind of ruined my floor. Not the best. Not the best. This flashing light back here. That's our warp core. Does warp core stuff, because you got to have a warp core on a spaceship. Otherwise, what's the point of having a spaceship, right? All right. So, over yonder is the Black Castle. It's missing a bit of its front. We never finished the front gardens yet. It's intended to be finished. I guess the easiest way in is from the top. What this place actually is it's supposed to be a monastery where these gentlemen here have heavily discounted trades on rotten flesh, which is very useful because I have silly amounts of rotten flesh. One of my favorite builds in the game that I've done ever is this. I actually had to do it twice because there was some glitch with an update on Xbox where it deleted my world, and I got very lucky that I had a backup, but the backup didn't have this build yet, so I had to rebuild the whole thing, and it was 90% complete when it got erased. So it makes me happy that I have it, but a little bittersweet about the whole ordeal. So we trade rotten flesh for emeralds. What do we do with those emeralds? That is a great question. Mostly, we bring them over here. There's as you can see, an abandoned village here. A very long descent. We talked to this gentleman here, and he sells us carrots. He's got surge pricing right now. He's a bit greedy, this guy. I don't like him so much. But we trade for food with him. Golden carrots are a great source of food in the game, and he's got them. This tunnel also serves a secondary purpose. It's where we were spawning librarians to fill our enchanting library. This is before there was fillable bookshelves, so we would just fill these chests up and come down here and you can see we also had zero tick sugarcane farms here that no longer work. Still have a lot of sugarcane kicking around, lots of sugarcane kicking around, and basically we would take them from here and move them right up here, which just so happens to be, and we didn't know this at the time, but it just so happens that there's a stronghold, which is how you get to the end. We'll get into that in another video. But you'd come in here, and you can see we have these little booths that contain our villagers. You, buddy, look a little stuck in your thing. And each one had its spot, and each spot used to be easy enough for us to find what we were looking for. At some point, there was an update. There's always an update, and it popped all the villagers out of their houses. I haven't figured out a good way to put them back yet. So right now, Who are you even? Right now, it's not great. They also lost all their discounts, which is super annoying because they were all 1 emerald per trade kind of dudes, and we had the whole system down here that worked. Lots of good. This gentleman would come out here and convert this guy, and then he would tell everybody how great it was that he got cured. I'm not even sure it works that way anymore, to be honest with you. I think you have to convert each villager, which is not fantastic, especially when you have that many villagers. So a little meandering through the stronghold, and we get to the end portal. That's the end portal. All right, so I fly a lot, which means you gotta have some ways to handle that. Another way we get emeralds, as a side note, because I forgot this was here. This is a raid farm. It works. It works very well, actually. It's not fully automated yet in that the uh, pillager captains don't immediately fall down in the hole like they used to. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Again, like I said, massive, super automatic, super efficient, hyper efficient farms are a little overkill for our purposes. But out here, just over the water, um, we have some farms. This was a creeper farm, but it's defunct now. This is a squid farm, and it's very, very productive. I don't come out here that much because how much black dye could a person possibly need? These hoppers are actually filled up almost all the way to the. There's a lot of ink sacs in there. This is a general mob farm, which primarily serves the purpose of providing me gunpowder to make my rockets. It's very effective, although it does have a few defects in that the witches can spawn and they fall down and they don't die, and then they heal themselves with potions, and they kind of clog up the system after a while. They get to be so many witches that um, you can see one here that's fallen down. Probably won't die. Everything else dies as it falls. It's the witches that are the problem. You can see it's working. It's working quite well. You might actually get to see a bunch of things fall. Uh, so this farm, no matter what size your world is, no matter how many people play, no matter how you want to kill them, I highly recommend this farm. It's incredibly useful because it also gives us copious amounts of rotten flesh, bones for bone meal. Some other farms that require bone meal. There are actually some potions that drop here. You get sugar, you get glowstone dust. You get a good mix of things that you might need to survive. Um, yeah. So one last place to stop. This is a guardian farm. If you remember the my old base underwater in that sunken temple, as you can see, there's actually, if you look closely, let me see if I have my spyglass. If you look closely, you can actually see the guardians in there. The machine is off right now. If I were to turn it on, click this switch here, we'll start pumping. See sorry. You see the guardians are zapping me with their guardian business. They're attacking me directly because the tridents that are in the trident killers were placed there by me, so they think I am their target. And you can see some stuff floating through. Good stuff. Was there a sword in there? How was there a sword in there? Anyways, so the principles on which this farm works, not terribly important. Looks like this guy Trident Killer is not functioning too good. Um, so yeah, you want to make sure your Trident Killers work because you don't want to fill up the mob cap into one. It's very technical stuff. We're gonna turn this off for the moment. There's obviously some work that needs to be done in my world. So this actually used to be a big ocean, um, and then there was an update that came out. I'm guessing it was Caves and Cliffs, and I erased unexplored chunks, and so happens that I preserved just this spot in the ocean, and it created this cool lake basin, and the temple's still there. So it's just a cool artifact of world generation and how things change over time. Um, and yeah, so that's the last thing we had to look for. Last thing we had to visit. This thing is actually very, very, very productive. It produces prismarine shards and prismarine crystals, which are used to make these blocks, these blocks, these blocks, and these blocks, which are lights. Well, I hope you enjoyed our world tour. I expect that I'll need to make more videos because I'm sure that this will generate questions with the people that this video was intended for. So, in the meantime, that was my world, and have a great day.